God. So that takes us here, right? So then you pick advanced download options, right? Advanced download option is where you can download for Power BI desktop. If you choose download will take you to Microsoft Store, which has an advantage of updating your drive. All right, it has an advantage that it updates your drive, your Power BI desktop by default, right? You don't need to update yourself. So, but for advanced download option, you need to do the update yourself. So it will come up. It will always give you a notification that okay, so update your Microsoft Power BI. So you have to update. But if it is from Microsoft Store, you don't need to update. That's the only advantage. So and then when you click on download, all right, you have two options, right? We have the 64-bit option and the 32-bit option. 64-bit option is better because it's faster and it's more efficient, right? So instantly when you get here, if you click next, it takes you to where you download. Because I have it already, so I won't be clicking on this. But if you come back to this place, this is where I was saying you click on advanced download option, and then it takes you to just the installation is so direct and straightforward. All right, so and here he's saying it's supported by Windows 10, Windows 7, almost all the Windows, right? So that will not be an issue. So this is where I said we should come to. By default is set as English, so and then you download, right? So this is the link to, in case you just want to download some Power BI samples, right? But it's already there by default. So let's forge ahead. So this is the installation process. Welcome to Microsoft Power BI Desktop Wizard. So what you see on your, immediately you click on, when you download it, you really click on that setup, you see this first box, all right? So first pop up, and then you click on next. Immediately you click on next, just click next. Then it brings you here and say installing Microsoft Power BI Desktop, and it starts installing, right? So when Power BI installs, this is what you see. So we have what we call Power BI architecture. So when we say Power BI architecture, we have three forms of Power BI, right? We have the Power BI Desktop, Power BI mobile apps, and Power BI services, and the Power BI gateway. So Power BI gateway, you can use Power BI on-premise gateway to keep your data fresh by connecting to your on-premise data source without the need to move the data. It allows you to query large data set and benefit from existing investment. So what Power BI gateway is for is when you are querying large data. So it's like you are trying to interact with JavaScript using JSON, right? Using JavaScript object notation. So that's how Power BI gateway works. It's just an interface linking your data source and Power BI desktop together. But for your Power BI desktop, which is the one we just downloaded, all right, is used to, that's where you build your report, right? And you design your reports, right? Power BI desktop has one advantage over Power BI service, right? So we said we have Power BI desktop, Power BI service, and Power BI mobile apps. So Power BI service is similar to Power BI desktop, except that Power BI service cannot model data. So data modeling is creating relationships between data, but for Power BI for Power BI service, you cannot model your data there. So you can only model data in Power BI desktop. All right. So that's about that. Then we have Power BI mobile apps. So it's just for you to access your Power BI reports in your mobile apps on your Android phones, and you can drill through, you can check it, you can do a lot of stuffs with Power BI mobile. So so as I said, Power BI service is a cloud service that is used to publish Power BI reports and data visualization. So after you are done with your reports, you publish it to Power BI service right? So that, but you have to have either Power BI Pro license or Power BI Premium license for you to be able to publish your report to Power BI service, right? So someone that just have Power BI desktop cannot publish to Power BI service. You have to have a Pro or Premium license, which you have to buy. So that's that about that. So because immediately you buy that license, then it requires your email. So you notice that if you go to the Power BI desktop, right, I've opened this here, and let's say let me just click on something so that this guy will I can get data. But when you click on this publish sign here, it will ask you your email. So, and you can only get that email when you've bought either Pro or Premium license. So it asks for your email, and then you can publish to Power BI services. All right. So these are some of the supported data sources. These are just some. Power BI desktop can connect to as many data sources as possible. All right, you can connect to as many data sources as possible. So some of them is what we have here. All right, we have a lot of them. You have flat files, you have Excel, you have SQL, you have SQL Server. So if I come here, all right, you see that here we have. So you see that here we have what? If you come to get data, you can see the different sources. We have Excel workbook via Power BI data set, data flow, Dataverse. Dataverse is a new development, right? A new tool developed by Microsoft. So what it does is it makes connection to data. So you can connect to any data source. It makes data flow easier, right? So you can connect to SQL Server as well. This is analysis service. This is test or CSV from web or data field. And if you want to see others, you click on more. That takes you to more options, right? There are so many of them. You have PDF, Access Database, over 100, IBM, MySQL, but this is not to worry because you not be connecting to all these data sources every now and then. You just be connecting through to just few, right? Depending on the need. So, but these are different data sources you can connect to, all right? So let me forge ahead. So as I've said, these are data sources you can connect to. So we have a lot of them. So as you practice, you can see MySQL a lot. So, and then we have two types of imports, right? So two types, you can connect your data using two types. I will share all these files as well. If you want to go through that, you can connect your data using two types, either direct query or import method. So what are these two methods? So direct query is saying you are connecting directly to your database. So let's say, for example, as data, let's say I made a sale now through, or every time, for example, an FMCG now that uses an app that has sales agents. So sales agents have an app that they use to transact with the customers, for example. So when these sales agents go out there and then input the details of their sales, let's say they sold to Mr. A, they search on the app, they say I sold to Mr. A make 2 sachets, Bonfita 2 sachets, right? So when they send that data and then submit, immediately what happens is it goes directly to the database, let's say SQL database. And then from the SQL database, if you have built a report on sales report, for example, direct query picks it directly. So you don't need to go and press refresh. It picks your data directly and then loads it to your report. That's direct query. But direct query is not effective when we have large amount of data, right? So when you have large amount of data, direct query is not effective, all right? So it's better to use import. So you can see method allows to perform data transformation and manipulation. When you publish the data to PBI service, limit of 1 gig, it consumes and pushes data into Power BI Azure backend and data can be replenished up to 8 times a day, and the schedule can be set up for data refresh. So for data query is live and there is no need to schedule refresh. You can see there's no need to schedule refresh as in the import method. So everything is going in directly. But it has its own advantage and disadvantage. For the advantage of using direct query, you can see you can build data visualization on large data set, which is not visible to import in Power BI desktop. All right. Data query doesn't apply any 1 gig data set limit. Okay, with the use of data direct query, the report always shows current data. So we are seeing current data. Limitation is this: there is a limitation of 1 million row for returning data while using direct query. You can perform aggregation of okay. So you can perform aggregation of more number of rows. However, the result row should be less than 1 million to return the data set. In direct query, all tables should come from a single database, right? So that's one thing. So for import now, I can import from Azure SQL. I can import another table from, let's say, my SQL. It doesn't stop for import method. But for direct query, it must come from a single database. All right. So that's one limitation of direct query. So Azure, using Azure option, you can connect to databases in Azure cloud. So Azure, as I've said, Azure is a cloud option. Hello, please, can you mute? So Azure is a cloud option for Microsoft, just like we have the AWS for Amazon, and we have Google Cloud Platform for Google, right? So these are very popular cloud platforms. We have Azure, we have AWS, and Google Cloud Platform. AWS meaning is Amazon Web Services. That's the full meaning. AWS. So you will having. So what are the essence? What are the uses of this? So meaning you can store your data in the cloud. You don't really need to interfere with your data at all times. So and everybody is going cloud now. So I will maybe even as we grow, as we learn, I want us to ensure we learn 1 or 2 cloud services, right? Most especially Azure, right? It's very, very, very useful. So these are just data sources. We can connect to online services as well. We can connect to Salesforce, Google Analytics, Facebook, and other. So yeah, I think that's that. So and then this is a comparison between other BI tools. So this table is trying to compare Tableau and Power BI together, right? So what is the advantage of Tableau over Power BI? One key advantage of Tableau is it has more better UI compared to Power BI. So user's interface, it's more beautiful compared to Power BI. It's more robust in some aspects compared to Power BI. But one downside of Tableau is it is expensive, right? It is expensive compared to Power BI. Power BI is a whole lot cheaper. It's very cheap with some box. You can see, I think there is a price they're costing. Tableau is expensive as compared to Power BI. Power BI provides a free version, all right, which is the one you are using now. So look at this now. Power BI is giving us $9.99 per user per month, but Tableau is saying $35 per user per month, which is a whole lot. Just that's like 4x, right? That's like 4 times higher than that's per user. Just imagine you now have in your company you have like 40 users. So multiply 40 times 35. That's a whole lot you'll be spending. This is dollar in Nigeria. But with 40 times 9, that's still $360 per month, which is still very fair, right? So Power BI is cheaper. And we have a whole lot of orders, right? You can just check out on our home. We have Google Data Studio by Google, all right. We have QLeap View, we have QSense, we have a whole lot of them. There are very many now. So just at least ensure that you master one. If you are mastering Power BI, which is what you are learning, ensure you master it well. Then you can migrate to the others, right? So this is comparing Power BI with SSRS. SSRS is SQL Server Reporting Services. Now, before now, I don't know, maybe we've heard of SSIS and SSIS. Have we? Anyone? Michael, Benjamin. Anyone heard of SSIS, SSAS?
I've not heard of it before.
Eh?
I've not heard of it before.
No.
Okay, so SSIS and SSAS, they are Microsoft tool as well. But you've heard of Visual Studio before, right?
Yes.
Okay, so these are Microsoft tools that you can access from Visual Studio, right? So the installation comes for basically for SSAS and SSIS, right? The installation comes along with along with when we are installing SQL Server. So when we start SQL now, you see there is a part that says analysis modeling. It will ask you if you have you installed any SQL before? Server. Okay, I think Michael said you installed my SQL, have you? Michael?
Yes, sir.
So but for SQL Server, when you are installing SQL Server, it will give you an option to say tabular modeling and multidimensional model. So that's part of the installation process is SSIS. That is, you do your analysis. Like for example, now your analysis is done when you are creating DAX, right? But for SSIS, you are creating tabular model or multidimensional model. Don't stress yourself. I'm just trying to give us a result. So before now, SSRS, which is the reporting service, is what some companies uses to report their data, but it's a whole lot shallow. I've used it once or twice, so it's a whole lot shallow. You cannot do much. It's not even appealing to the eye. So comparing Power BI with it is a whole lot. So let's just see some of the comparison. SSRS is mostly used for pixel perfect reporting and average dashboarding features. So compared to Power BI, a whole lot. No such limit in SSRS. It can connect to much larger data set as compared to Power BI. So now that's one advantage of SSRS anyway. And the reason why is like this is because SSIS, which is SQL Server Integration Service, is used for integrating data. From there, you migrate to SSAS, where you analyze data, SQL Server Analysis Services. And from there, your SSRS connect to analysis services, which is SSAS. It connects directly, and you have SSRS. So you just do your report. So because there is that flow, you don't need to import your data out to Power BI or to another solution. That's why it allows for